maritime frontiers, we dissect issues on port operations and more.
Every time we talk about sport, it's everything that has to do with sport from the top.
Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Voice of the People TV. I am Adefunke Jaisimi. Before we begin, kindly visit our website www.bop.ng for fresh and trending news stories. First, the headlines. Serap urges Tinubu to drop APC members as INEC recs. The federal government insists no state can receive council funds. Gowon denies hatred factor in Nigerian civil war. NDA warns farmers, herders, residents of range areas. NUTFG says CBT can't solve malpractices. Nigeria exports first crude from Otakikpo terminal. In World Report, Rwanda pulls out of regional bloc over Congo role. And in business, SEC warns against investing in dollar-pound meme coin. In the world of sports, Mbakwe Olise's score as France beat Germany to third place, and in entertainment, Ogun to safeguard Ojudioba heritage, says Governor Abiodun. Now, the news in details. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to review his appointment of resident electoral commissions, several of whom are alleged to be members of the ruling All Progressives Congress. In a June 7 letter by Serap Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare, the organization warned that the presence of partisan figures in INEC could damage the credibility of the upcoming 2027 general elections. Therefore, it urged the president to be guided by the constitutional requirements and replace them with individuals of proven integrity and free from political affiliations. Serap cited the nominees and subsequent Senate confirmations being referred to as Etekamba Umoran from Akwa Ibom, Isa Eki Mekwene from Edo State, Bumi Omosayindemi from Lagos State, and Anubum Onwara from Rivers State, all of whom he appointed in October 2023. Noting that the public perception of INEC's independence is essential for building confidence in the electoral process, Serap warned that where Nigerians have doubts about INEC's neutrality, they are more likely to lose trust in the electoral system, thereby undermining democracy. Therefore, it urged President Tinubu to use his office to nominate non-partisan individuals who meet the constitutional criteria. The body also directed the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice to draft a bill to the National Assembly that would enhance the Electoral Commission's independence. The federal government has declared Thursday, June 12, 2025 as public holiday to commemorate this year's Democracy Day, the Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, said, congratulating Nigerians on the occasion of 26 years of uninterrupted civil rule. A statement by the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Magdalene Ajani, cited Tunji-Ojo as saying that June 12 represents Nigeria's historic journey to building a nation where truth and justice reign, peace is sustained, and citizens' future assured. According to the minister, the last 26 years tells the story of Nigerians' resilience, strength, and courage than ever. He explained that democracy is sustained with open doors for further improvement. He further stated that the universal value of democracy is based on freely expressed will of the people in determining their political, economic, social, and cultural system. In another development, the federal government has said that all the 36 states of the Federation must comply with the previous judgment of the Supreme Court on local government allocations, whether through disbursements or spending. They insisted that no state government has a right to control or manage statutory allocations to the councils, followed the Osun State government's appeal to the Apex Court, seeking the federal government's release of its council funds for health and education purposes. However, in an affidavit deposed by the Special Assistant to the President, Taye Oloyede, the federal government cited the Supreme Court's declaration that the amount distributed to and standing to the credit of local councils in the Federation account must be paid only to democratically elected local councils. It further cited an injunctive order restraining defendants by themselves, previous agents, officials, or whoever from further collecting, receiving, spending, or tampering with local councils' funds from the federal accounts for the council's benefit, among other declarations. The federal government described the Osun State government's demand as shocking, stating that there is no proof before the court that it has the backings of the legally elected local governments to initiate the suit. Former head of state, General Gowon, retired, has denied that the Nigerian civil war was ever driven by hatred, but by a difficult necessity to preserve national unity. Gowon, who spoke at the 5th convention of the Christian Men's Fellowship of the Diocese of Abuja, where he received a Lifetime Integrity and Achievement Award, stressed the importance of forgiveness, reconciliation, and unity across faiths and ethnicities. According to him, the most difficult period of his life was not his choice, but he had to be there and had to do what he had to do to keep the nation together. He added that it was never a hatred against any people. Now 91, the former military leader recalled personal losses during the war, including the death of his friend Major Arthur Onegbe, for whom he served as best man. Reflecting on life after that era, he said his decisions have been guided by prayer and a desire to act with integrity and compassion. He further stated that he asked God to help him do the right thing the way it should be done, with love and respect from all the people. Still in the news, the Nigerian Defense Academy has warned farmers, herders, and residents to steer clear of its areas for the forthcoming range classification exercise. In a statement to this effect, NDA spokesperson Major Muhammad Maidawa informed the public, particularly farmers, herders, and residents of surrounding and adjoining settlements, about the upcoming exercise scheduled to take place on Monday to Wednesday. He said that the exercise is an essential training activity aimed at exposing the cadets of Direct Short Service Course 33 and Branch Commission to 2025 Nigerian Air Force to live firing scenarios. According to him, this exercise is crucial for enhancing the firing skills and overall operational readiness of the cadets. And in the light of the nature of the activities involved, the NDA strongly advises all individuals, especially those engaged in agricultural and pastoral activities, to keep away from the open range area during the specific dates. The NDA further requested all locals to refrain from entering the area to ensure their safety and to also allow the cadets conduct their training without interruptions. Maidawa also reminded the community that trespassing into the open range area during the exercise period is strictly prohibited. The Nigerian Union of Teachers says the shift to computer-based examinations by the West African Examination Council and the National Examination Council will not eliminate malpractices. The NUT National President, Comrade Audu Amba, stated this in Abuja in reaction to the federal government's recent directive that WAEC and NECO should be fully transitioned to computer-based testing for the examinations by 2026. Specifically, WAEC is expected to begin conducting objective exams via CBT in November 2025. The Minister of Education, Mr. Tunji Alausa, who announced government's decision, had said that the switch would enhance efficiency and reduce malpractices. However, Amba said the major challenge with the nation's education system encouraging malpractices is the priority on paper qualifications. According to him, since the society only recognizes certificates and grades, the students will go the extra miles, sometimes with the support of their parents, to acquire them, even when they cannot be defended. Amba further underscored the need to address the digital literacy gap among students and teachers before implementing such policy, adding that this may require additional training programs and resources. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency has predicted thunderstorms and rains across the country from Sunday to Tuesday. In its weather outlook released in Abuja, NIMET envisaged morning thunderstorms on Sunday with moderate rains over parts of Taraba and Adamawa in the northern region. According to the agency, in the north-central region, cloudy morning is expected over the region, and later in the day, Thunderstorms with rains are anticipated over parts of the Federal Capital Territory, Niger, Nasarawa, Kwara, Kogi, Benue, and Plateau State. It added that in the southern region, cloudy atmosphere is expected during the morning hours with rain showers anticipated over parts of Oyo, Ogun, Ondo, and Ebonyi, among other states later in the day. The agency anticipated morning thunderstorms on Monday with rains over parts of Sokoto, Zamfara, and Bauchi states in the northern region, while thunderstorms with rains are expected over parts of Sokoto, Zamfara, Taraba, and Adamawa, among others later in the day. For Tuesday, isolated thunderstorms with moderate rains are expected over parts of Zamfara and Kaduna states in the morning period, and in the afternoon/evening hours, thunderstorms with rains over parts of Taraba, Kaduna, and Adamawa states, among others. You're still watching the news hour on Voice of the People television. When we return, on alleged abductions, we'll talk about aggrieved Delta women protesting disappearance of 26 children. Stay with us for this and more stories after the break.
Voice of the People television awuchiela onye nụ ya ka ọrụ ibe ya. Ị chọrọ ịmata akụkọ ndị gbara n'akwụkwọ akụkọ dị iche iche n'ala anyị kwa ụbọchị. Ị chọrọ ịmata ka o si afịatụ na ndọrọndọrọ ọchịchị, agụmakwụkwọ, azụmahịa, ime njem, ọbụladị egwuregwu. Mgbasonyere anyị n'oge ndị Igbo na Voice of the People television. Anyị nwere ndị ọbịa bụ ọkachamara, bụkwa ndị ga-enye aka tapịa isiokwu ndị anyị jiri bịa kwa ụbọchị. Anyị ga-eji ka o siri gbaa n'akwụkwọ akụkọ dị iche iche wee malite tupu anyị akọzie n'uju n'ubi onye anyị bịara na nke ya.
Ibamuru nzem ọzọ kerikosi ya gazere onye ukwu ma gazere onye nta.
Mkparịta ụka tọrọ atọ ka anyị ga-ewetara gị bụkwa nke ga-eme ka ịmata ka ihe si aga n'ala anyị bụ Naijiria, ọbụladị na mba ofesi. Oge ndị Igbo na Voice of the People television ga na-abịara gị site n'ụbọchị Mọnde ruo Fraịde na SLTV Channel 264. Ekwekwala ka akọrọ gị ya akọrọ. Chetakwa na ọ bụ na SLTV Channel 264 ka ị ga-ekiri Voice of the People television. Voice of the People television. Ugbu a ị nwere karịa olu.
Step into a world where stories unfold, secrets unravel, and dreams come alive. Every story has a legacy. Every legacy holds the power to inspire. A unique interview series that celebrates the lives of Nigeria's elder statesmen and women through their remarkable journeys in the military, diplomacy, public service, academia, medicine, and beyond. Conversation that transcends generations, offering guidance to youth leaders, diplomats, technocrats, and future change makers. We unveil the wisdom, resilience, and achievements that shapes our nation and the world. Join us every Sunday on Voice of the People television. Reminiscence, legacies that leads the way, stories that lives on.
Welcome back. Women from Agahor local government community in Ugeli North local government area of Delta State have cried out against the unexplained disappearance of no fewer than 26 children in the community. In protest, they marched through the streets chanting sorrowful songs while holding placards that demand justice as they request the release of their children. According to reports, the children, who are mainly aged between 3 and 10, had been missing for over 8 months without any cogent explanation. Local sources claim that in spite of several complaints to law enforcement and local authorities, there has been no result of recoveries, thereby heightening frustrations among the people. Against the ongoing ugly situation, the Ovie of Agbaho Kingdom, His Royal Majesty Oguremerie Okorefe, had condemned the wave of disappearance of children, saying that it is a declaration of war against the people. In a statement, he called on security agencies to act swiftly or risk the total breakdown of law and order in the community. Meanwhile, cleric and head of house on the Rock Church, Pastor Adefarasi Paul, has refuted the allegation that he pointed a gun at an aggressive content creator, debunking the claim minutes before his Sunday sermon, which was streamed live on the church's YouTube channel. The cleric described the offensive incident as a clickbait for money-making purpose. Reacting to the incident and the uproar that followed with calls from friends and family members, Adefarasi said he was deeply shaken by the allegation. According to him, this was not merely an attack but an organized strategy to make money through clickbait, as the enticement of the enemy is always the love of money as the root of all evil. The cleric, expressing dismay at being falsely accused of brandishing a pistol while observing the Sabbath, denied ever owning a license to carry firearms. He further assured members that his ministry would not give in to or dignify hate speech, insisting that God is bigger than that and will give vengeance. Still in the news, the Nigerian Correctional Service says it has so far enrolled 59,786 inmates in the National Identity Number Registration exercise ongoing across custodian centers nationwide. In a statement, NCOS spokesperson Umar Abubakar said the figure represents approximately 74% of the country's total inmate population of 80,879. According to him, the registration being conducted in collaboration with the National Identity Management Commission is part of an ongoing effort to integrate inmates into Nigeria's identity database. NCOS said the process was progressing steadily and that mechanisms have been put in place to ensure the remaining inmates are registered seamlessly. However, the agency described as false and misleading the recent media reports that NIN registration had yet to begin in any custodian center, stating that inmates' enrollment has not only commenced but yielding tangible results. Again, Nigeria has made history by concluding its first indigenous onshore crude oil exports from the new Otakipo crude oil terminal on Sunday, June 8. The first such export in over 5 decades came from the facility built by Green Energy International Limited, an operator of the Otakipo field. The first cargo was lifted by off-taker vessel MV by Shell at 2 p.m., a proof of the terminal's successful construction and operational readiness. Congratulating all the parties involved in the technical test run of the facility, Chairman of Green Energy International Limited, Professor Anthony Adegbulube, thanked God for success and the resilience of the entire indigenous staff of the company throughout its complexities. In a statement, the GEIL management said the newly constructed terminal boasts an initial storage capacity of 750,000 barrels, with potential expansion to 3 million barrels. According to the company, the facility also features a 360,000 barrel per day pumping capacity for loading export tankers, which makes it one of the most significant infrastructure projects in Nigeria's energy landscape. Adegbulube said the project, completed ahead of schedule in under 2 years, is the first privately developed crude oil terminal by an African operator. We take another break before more stories. Coming after the break are world reports, business, and sports stories. Please stay with us.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP This Morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday. Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV, now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
Welcome back on World Report. Rwanda says it is pulling out of a Central Africa regional bloc after a diplomatic row over its involvement in the conflict in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The country was supposed to take up the chairmanship of the Economic Community of Central African States, which rotates among 11 members. However, it was prevented from doing so at a meeting in Equatorial Guinea over the weekend. Announcing its decision to leave ECAS, Rwanda said its right to take up the chairmanship was deliberately ignored in order to impose the DRC's diktat. Consequently, the country said it saw no justification for remaining in an organization which current functioning runs counter to its founding principle and intended purpose. The role comes as efforts to end the fighting in eastern DR Congo continue. Following the United States mediation, Rwanda and Congo are working on a draft peace plan expected to be signed later this month. According to a statement from the Congolese president, the ECAS leaders at the summit acknowledged the aggression against the DRC by Rwanda and ordered the aggressor country to withdraw its troops from Congolese soil. In the UK, a UK soldier has been accused of raping a woman near a British Army training camp in Kenya, where another soldier was previously accused of murder. The alleged rape happened last month close to the British Army training unit in Kenya, near Nanyuki, some 200 kilometers north of the capital, Nairobi. The man was arrested and questioned following the alleged incident that occurred after a group of soldiers visited a bar in the town. An investigation is being carried out by UK military police from the Defense Serious Criminal Unit, which looks into crimes allegedly committed by British service personnel in the UK and overseas. United States President Donald Trump has ordered 2,000 National Guardsmen to Los Angeles to deal with unrest over raids on undocumented migrants. Trump said the federal government would step in and solve the problem after the Californian city saw a second day of clashes on Saturday between protesters and federal agents. Tear gas was used to disperse crowds at a residence of the predominantly Latino Paramount District clashed with immigration and customs enforcement agents earlier in the day. As many as 118 arrests have been made in LA as a result of ICE operations, including 44 on Friday. California Governor Gavin Newsom has condemned the raids as cruel. Meanwhile, Trump has thanked the National Guard for a job well done in Los Angeles late on Saturday night. Trump criticized the city's Democratic governor and mayor in the post on his Truth Social platform, calling them incompetent. He also said protesters would no longer be allowed to wear masks. However, Newsom said the federal government's takeover of the National Guard was purposefully inflammatory and would only escalate tensions. Still in the world news, elsewhere, tens of thousands of people have taken part in an opposition-organized demonstration in Spain's capital, Madrid, accusing the government of Socialist Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez of corruption and urging him to call early elections. Protesters, many waving red and yellow Spanish flag, marched on Sunday in the Plaza de España, a large square in the center of Madrid, demanding Pedro Sanchez resign. The Conservative Popular Party called the rally after leaked audio recordings allegedly documented a member of the Socialist Worker Party, Luis Diaz, waging a smear campaign against the police unit that investigated corruption allegations against Sanchez's wife's brother, his former transport minister and right-hand man, Jose Luis Abalos. Diaz has denied the allegation, telling reporters that she was conducting research for a book and was not working on behalf of the party or Sanchez. She also resigned from Sanchez's party. Sanchez and his government have been embroiled in numerous scandals, with perhaps the most significant being the Coldo case or Max case, which concerns corruption allegation in awarding public contracts for medical supplies, particularly masks, during the COVID-19 pandemic. No fewer than 4 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli gunfire as they headed to an aid distribution center, health workers in Gaza have said. The Israel Defense Forces said troops had directed warning shots after issuing a verbal challenge at a group that was moving toward them and was deemed as threat. It is the latest deadly incident near aid distribution points in Gaza that has been set up by a new organization, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is backed by Israel and the US. The IDF said it was aware of reports that people had been injured, adding that the number does not align with the information currently held by the IDF. The latest incident occurred before dawn near an aid distribution center close to Rafah in the south of Gaza. Palestinian paramedics said they had evacuated 4 people who were killed as crowds gathered in the hope that the aid center would open and they could get food. The Israeli army has declared that Palestinians should only move to and from the GHF distribution sites between 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. local time, and that at all other times it should be considered an active combat zone. And in another development, Colombian president candidate Miguel Tubar remains in intensive care after he was shot 3 times, including twice in the head, at a campaign event in the capital, Bogota. Today, a 39-year-old senator was attacked while addressing supporters in a park on Saturday. Police arrested 15-year-old suspect at the scene, the Attorney General's office said. Uribe's wife, Maria Claudia Tarazona, called on the nation to pray for his survivor, saying Miguel is currently fighting for his life. Let us ask God to guide the hands of the doctors who are treating him. Those were her words. Uribe's Centro Democrático Party condemned the attack, calling it a threat to democracy and freedom in Colombia. Meanwhile, a powerful magnitude 6.3 earthquake has shaken the Colombian capital of Bogota, according to the United States Geological Survey. The USGS reported on Sunday morning that the quake struck near the city of Paratebuno in central Colombia, about 170 kilometers east Bogota. Journalists on ground said buildings shook and sirens sounded around Bogota as people rushed out onto the streets for safety. People gathered in parks and outside buildings in their pajamas as parents tried to calm frightened children while others searched for pets that ran away during the tremor. The mayor of Bogota, Charles Galan, wrote on X that no one was injured in the earthquake, according to the preliminary reports. Now in business, Nigerians have been one to shun the temptation of investing in this cryptocurrency Punisher coin, also called dollar pound, to avoid the risk of losing their resources. The Security and Exchange Commission, SEC, which dropped the warning in a public notice on its website, said promoters of Punisher coin, which is being advertised through various online platforms, are currently not registered in Nigeria, disclosing that its preliminary findings that Punisher coin is a meme coin. SEC said it is neither registered to operate in any capacity in the Nigerian capital market, nor approved by SEC for issuance to the public. Meme coins generally have no use case, intrinsic value, or tangible project backing them, and in any attributed value is usually linked to its promoters or the community efforts, which more often are susceptible to scams. According to SEC, anyone who engages in the purported pre-sale or investment in Punisher coin does this at his or her own risk. With limited progress in nearly 4 years after its approval, the World Bank has blamed weak institutional capacity at the subnational level for the failure of Nigeria's $700 million sustainable urban and rural water supply, sanitation, and hygiene program. The program aims to increase access to water, sanitation, and hygiene services and strengthen sectors' institutions across participating states. However, it identified delays in budget allocations and program execution due to a lack of understanding of the program for results instruments among state-level decision makers. According to the World Bank, in response to these challenges, the program was restructured in February 2025 to revise key disbursement link indicators and introduce scalability. Nevertheless, it's noted that performance has remained below expectations, with only $93.59 million or 14% of the total fund disbursed as of May 2025 out of the revised committed of $670.21 million. The bank rated progress toward the development objectives and overall implementation of moderately unsatisfactory, stating that only 58,585 people have been reached with basic drinking water so far out of a targeted 6.1 million people by the year 2027. The managing director of the Nigerian Railway Corporation, Kayode Okpeifa, says the rail connection between Kano and Maradi in Niger Republic is vital to secure the food supply chain, with Maradi as a center for food security. Citing AU 2063, Okpeifa told a local television station that African countries are encouraged to link with landlocked countries due to the potential in those countries. He added that food security in cereal and livestock for Nigeria and West Africa is tied to Maradi. According to him, if mobility is taken out of logistics and supply chain, nothing is left. Therefore, the Kano-Maradi rail, which will now be Kano to Kaduna, Kaduna to Abuja, and Abuja to Lagos, will represent the food security chain. Okpeifa further stated government's commitment to ensuring that major cities are connected through a new rail infrastructure map, with plans to introduce new rail lines across the city. He further stated that the movement of rail system from exclusion to the concurrent list has created opportunities for states to grant to develop their rail lines. And in the world of sport, Kylian Mbappe bagged a goal and an assist as France beat Germany 2-0 in the Nations League bronze medal match in Stuttgart on Sunday, weaving his magic in a heavily chanced France squad. The final between Portugal and Spain begins at 8 o'clock on Sunday evening. Germany dominated the opening half, but Mbappe provided the breakthrough just before halftime, giving a shot through a crowded penalty box to bring up his 50th goal in France colours. Late in the second, with the hosts desperately looking for an equalizer, Mbappe snatched a poor Germany pass on the halfway line and rampaged forward before setting up Michael Olise for the second goal. The French showed incredible depth, while Mbappe again demonstrated his finishing and pace. For Germany, who lost 2 straight matches for the first time since 2023, questions remain over how much they have truly improved under Julian Nagelsmann. In the lead up to Sunday's encounter, France coach Didier Deschamps has said that the Nations League clash with old rivals, Germany was not the most important game for them as they focused on next year's World Cup. The Anambra State chapter of the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria has urged the State Sport Development Commission to review its programs and policies to reserve the sector's declining fortunes. Anambra won 2 gold, 6 silver and 10 bronze in Abeokuta, down from its 6 gold, 9 silver and 24 bronze in Asaba in the year 2022. In a communique at the end of its June Congress, the association expressed concern that the Anambra's performance at the recently concluded 22nd National Sports Festival in Abeokuta, Ogun State, fell far below its previous records in Delta and Edo editions of the NSF. Swan, in the communique by its chairman, Ifeanyi Okonkwo, and others, called on the state government to pay greater attention to the funding, training, and welfare of athletes to check the exodus of most Anambra's best athletes to other states. It further expressed disappointment that only one of its members was included in the state's contingent to Abeokuta, while calling for early preparation ahead of the 23rd edition of NSF built for Enugu State in 2026. Still talking sports, South Africa's Tete Dijana, alongside compatriot and road running star Gerda Sten, won the men and women comrades marathon title on Sunday at South Africa, KwaZulu-Natal province. The Maikeng resident, Dijana, won the 98th edition of the ultimate human race from Pietermaritzburg to Durban for the 3rd time, adding to his triumph in 2022 and 2023. Dijana, who holds the down run record, timed his race to perfection. Running in the colors of the Nedbank Running Club, it took the lead with approximately 16 kilometers to go and completed the 88.98-kilometer race in an unofficial time of 5 hours, 25 minutes and 28 seconds. 2024 champion Dutchman Piet Westman finished second, just as in 2023, crossing the first line only 5 seconds behind Dijana, while Russia's Nikolia Volkov came third. For the women race winner, Sten, it was a 3rd consecutive title and 4th overall, the 35-year-old crossing the finish line in an unofficial time of 5 hours, 51 minutes and 19 seconds. Russia's Alexandra Morozova took second in 5 hours, 55 minutes and 56 seconds, while Kenya's Shelmit Muruki finished in 3rd round for 6 hours, 7 minutes and 56 seconds, becoming the first ever black female to stand on the Comrades Marathon podium. Coco Gauff battled back from a set down to beat world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka in a Grand Slam final for the 2nd time with a dramatic victory in the French Open showpiece. The 2nd-ranked American dug deep to claim victory and a 2nd major title after also defeating Sabalenka at the 2023 US Open. The 21-year-old more than made amends for her emotional 2022 final loss to Iga Swiatek at Roland Garros, outlasting Sabalenka over 2 hours and 38 minutes on court Philippe Chatrier. Sadly, it was also a 2nd straight Grand Slam final loss for Sabalenka after a defeat by Madison Keys at the Australian Open in January. Gauff was rock solid after falling a set down, while Sabalenka made 70 unforced errors in windy conditions in a match that followed a very similar pattern to Gauff's victory at Flushing Meadows 2 years ago. Belarusian Sabalenka was aiming to become the only current women's player to win 3 of the 4 Grand Slam events after a US Open triumph last year and back-to-back Australian Open titles in 2023 and 2024. Instead, but Gauff moved to 6-5 ahead in their head-to-head record, proving the more consistent player in the first women's slam final between the world's top 2 since Caroline Wozniacki beat Simona Halep in Melbourne in the year 2018. It's time to talk entertainment. Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun has described his participation in the 2025 Ojude Oba Festival in Ijebu-Ode as a timeless celebration of heritage, unity, and loyalty to the throne of the Awujale of Ijebuland, Oba Sikiru Adetono. The governor, in a statement, reflected the significance of the annual festival, which brings together sons and daughters of Ijebuland from across the globe to pay homage to their culture and to the revered monarch. He wrote that, as proud sons and daughters of Ijebuland, the people were deeply honored to partake in this year's Ojude Oba Festival, which he described as a timeless celebration of their heritage, unity, and unwavering loyalty to the reverend throne of the Awujale of Ijebuland. Abiodun further stated that the people's appearance was not merely ceremonial, but also a respectful homage to their roots and a visible affirmation of their enduring commitment to the culture that defines them. And according to him, every element of their attire was thoughtfully chosen, not for spectacle, but to honor the sacredness of the occasion, their royal host, and the cherished values of the Ijebu people. Abiodun added that their presence was never about showmanship, but a declaration of identity, an expression of grace, tradition, and responsible leadership. Beautiful one there. Congratulations to my people. Still in the news, comedian Brain Jota, originally Chukwuebuka Emmanuel, has paid a glowing tribute to High Life legend Mike Ejeagha, whose 1983 classic Gwo found new life through a viral social media challenge. Taken to Instagram, Brain Jota shared a throwback video of the late musician with the caption, "39 years ago, he made magic. 39 years later, we dance to it again. Now, he rests, but his melodies lives forever. Rest in peace, legend." The comedian had visited Ejeagha at his Enugu home in July 2024 after his skit, which featured the track Kaesi Le Onye Sioche, literally translated as "How to Look at the Chairman," propelled the decades-old song into a viral sensation. The encounter left the veteran musician teary-eyed as he watched a new generation embrace this timeless work. Ejeagha so had thanked Brain Jota then for bringing back his father's legacy, stating that this was the most attention his music has received in over 30 years. May the soul of the departed continue to rest in peace. And in Kano State, the government has asked the federal government for compensation for the Durban celebrations that was cancelled for 2 consecutive years. The Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Tajo Uthman, made the request during a Salah homage by the Emir of Kano, Muhammad Sanusi II, to the Governor Abba Yusuf at the Government House. Uthman said the state has suffered huge financial losses due to the suspension of the annual cultural events, which traditionally attract locals and international tourists. According to him, the Durbar is recognized by UNESCO as a heritage event, and during the festivities, Kano generates substantial revenue from both local, foreigners, and visitors from across the country. Arguing that the economic impact of the cancellation has been significant enough to affect the state's annual budget, he asked the federal government to take responsibility for its decision and compensate the state accordingly. That's it on News Hour. Before we go, a quick look at the headlines. Sarap urges Tinubu to drop APC member as INEC rex. FG insists no state can receive council funds. Gowon denies hatred factor in Nigeria's civil war. NDA warns farmers, herders, residents of range areas. NUTFG says CBT can solve malpractices. And still in the news, Nigeria exports first crude from Otakikbo terminal. In the world news, Rwanda pulls out of regional bloc over Kongoro. In business, SEC warns against investing in dollar-pound meme coin. And in the world of sports, Mbappe Olise score as France beat Germany to 3rd place. In entertainment, Ogun to safeguard Ojude-Oba heritage, says Governor Dapo Abiodun. Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV, and on other social media platforms, we are VOP TV Live. I am Adefunke Jaisime. Thank you so much for watching. Good evening.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television. We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
We are the station that brings you stories from the people's perspective.